Hi guys, I don't know if y'all remember when Memories Long Forgotten by Orange Cake Mix came out last year, and I did a video with him where we talked about, the album and how there would be physicals that were coming out in October. And wow, it's not October anymore. The physical CDs are now out, and maybe you should get one. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yay.
And today I'm here with MTS Airmass and Xerin from Magma Sphere, and they helped me, put this together. So we're just gonna talk about, I guess, just how we made the physicals for it. So I thought that would be a cool thing to do on here today.
Good evening, Internet. We are Magma Sphere corporate overlords, and we present our new music sounds to the world. We have one compact disc available for purchase today off of the Bandcamp website. One orange cake mix. Happy Halloween, by the way. Hope you guys are enjoying your October. Feel like this month's been going on forever. But
yeah.
All right.
Well, the way this started initially was because I actually used to go to college with MTS Airmass. We were both in the student radio, and I think right after I did the initial interview, he was mentioning that he was mentioning that he wanted to do physicals, and I knew that you had a little label that you ran that did physicals. Cause
I ran.
Yeah. Well, cause he wanted vinyls initially. I was like, that's kind of expensive, but I knew you did CDs, so I was like, would you be down to do this? And you said, yeah. I hadn't even started making the album yet. That didn't come until later. I just wanted to have something in place for when the time came, I guess. Once it was done,
yeah.
We figured it out already.
The thing is, back then was when Magma Sphere was pretty much just starting. Cause what? Well, I don't know. I think our first album came out in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going for a while.
Were we? Was freshman year of college in 2023, or was that 2024?
It was both.
I
Late
thought we started
2023.
in August of 2023.
Right. So, okay, did this take over a year to get produced?
Well, it was supposed to no, because the album came out in August, so you didn't have the stuff until August.
Oh, okay. So, but we did talk about. No. We
talked about it in April.
Early 2024.
Yeah.
You're right. So yeah, that would have been less than a year into the label's start time, and we're only just now actually starting to get consistent production going. Me and Xerin both have jobs finally.
We're employed officially.
Yeah.
We did it.
We're working up that CEO corporate ladder.
From janitor to CEO, yeah.
That's gonna happen, dude. We're gonna be who's the guy? We're gonna be Greg the Egg.
Jeff Bezos.
Well, back then, the whole deal was that living in Austin, it wasn't easy to just get around. I find this Denton landscape much easier navigable. I've been able to find a job here easier, and now that things are finally going smoothly in my life, we're able to finally just start actually getting a consistent production schedule down. Xerin came up with the term Magma Sphere Summer, so that's happening.
That's it. We're doing it.
Loads of CDs coming out, and tapes and all.
It'll be huge.
And others.
Biggest year ever of all time, I think.
That's right. We're gonna be our own country. Just you wait.
I mean, this is the
Yeah, we got
biggest
a
year ever
constitution,
so
we're
far.
That's the goal.
So
It's a pretty big year. It's yeah, I guess every year that goes on you add one. So this
Yeah.
is the biggest year.
yeah.
I never thought about it like that, but that is how it works.
Yeah. Dude, every day's greater than the last.
That's true. Yeah, but I guess if you wanted to get into what you did for the CD, because it's a lot more than just putting the CD or putting the album on a CD. There's a lot more that you did for it. If you want to get into that.
Yeah, we did a lot of actual proper work for this one. Not that we haven't done proper work for our other label releases, but the previous Trash Boat release was I wish I actually took the time to properly master that, but I didn't get the final tracks until the day of release. Things like that, right? We've had these scattered releases throughout 2 years, a few months gap between each, and this is like the release that I definitely put the most effort in, what with the remastering process and the little essay in it. I very much like how these turned out.
I think it's our best looking CD. I'm gonna be honest. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I showed it to my dad. He was surprised how like professional it came out. So
yeah, it looks cool. I modeled it off of some. Let me get something else actually, because I modeled this off of some other like CDs that I have. Give me a second. When like college season is going around, I always get really into like music school type music. I get really into free improv and like electroacoustic improvisation, jazz stuff. So briefly a few weeks ago, I got back into Brent Gutzite. Ordered a few CDs from him, and then he gave me this one for free, which is pretty much just basic text on the back, but I like the structure of these like kind of free improv CDs that are always like this, with just the informative text on the back, and I modeled the back of our CD after that. But then you guys told me you wanted it to look handwritten, and I don't like the way my handwriting looks, so I got my dad to handwrite the back of this CD.
Elegant.
yeah, and it's got all the people that helped me, assemble the album written on it also, which I think is super cool. I feel like this was like a very collaborative like process, even though it was just like his music. There's probably like 10 people total that like worked on this album to like make it like come out, including the physicals.
Right.
So
it's pretty cool. I like how this experience went. I'm very glad you guys bared with the long wait.
I mean, I knew it'd be worth it like once it was done, and it was. So
yeah. Again, part of the long wait is just the label's financial struggles over the time, and part of that is just me being scared to start up the new series. Because again, like this is way different from anything else we've done. The new series, we're gonna have like a lot of proper work put into it. It's gonna shift directions of the label a little bit. What with like modern associations with the word breakcore, you gotta kind of just like graduate out of that at some point.
yeah, I guess you want to talk about the remastering, like what you did also, because like if you're watching this, you've heard the actual album that's on like streaming services, you would know that like the volume is not consistent on that whatsoever, because I just uploaded all the original like files off his Bandcamp for that, so there was no like editing that I did, but on the physicals it's a little different.
Yeah, I remastered it just using some like stock Ableton plugins, but I quite like how the new one sounds. It's richer, the details come out more, and the most important thing is that the volume level is consistent track to track. But I was told when I did an internship at a studio that like a lot of audio engineers will try to like overcompensate for things. Your goal with mastering, you shouldn't notice good mastering, but you should miss it when it's gone. And I feel like I pretty much accomplished that with this.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on my CD player, I played it, and it was very refreshing just to hear it like almost like in the way like he intended, I guess, because like he always like, we talk about it in the write-up that's on the CD, but he always had like a grander vision for like his music than like that he was actually possible to like carry out. I think having like proper mastering was like part of that.
Right. Some of my favorite appeal to this album is that it's a product of limitation. My taste in music in general is a little bit more raw, and it was just kind of things people had to get out there rather than things people just wanted to make, or things people made for money or for production exercises. I like music that people had to make. His creative process is really interesting to me, and how much like genuine heart is filled in his music despite the limitations of it. It's the exact reason I fall in love with a lot of other similar projects. It's the exact appeal to like Bogdan Rzinski,
Yeah, because it was all like 4-track cassette recordings or like tape recordings, and then like just recorded like in his like kitchen or something.
Yeah, Bogdan Rzinski has like the exact same creative process where he records things in his kitchen, and but he's intentionally records them on the worst equipment he can find.
Yeah, I think
Have you
for
heard any
OCM,
of his stuff?
it's just I have, but I think for OCM, it's just like it's just what he had.
Right.
He had to make it work.
I think he was trying to do like a similar thing to like what Sparkle Horse was doing with the just like layered 4-track stuff. But you know, Sparkle Horse had access to better equipment to actually turn these visions into proper songs. And these Orange Cake Mix ones are like a lot more stripped back, which I end up liking a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just feels more like human, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Astro Bright does the same thing. I mean, like, it's all recorded on like super lo-fi gear and 4 tracks and very limited hardware, but it's like it just sounds so good. You know, like they do well with the limitations. It just brings out more creativity, I'd argue.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
This is a silly comparison, but I feel like the 4-track stuff back then is like the equivalent to like BandLab now. Does that make sense?
BandLab is funny. I only associate BandLab with like people who don't know of other alternatives, because there are other like free good alternatives, but I associate BandLab with like 12-year-olds making a beat on Google Chrome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's still like they want to do it. They found a way to make it work. Like that's how I view it.
Yeah.
Within the last month, I've checked out BandLab. It's actually like it's pretty powerful. It's a cool little music program, especially since it's in a browser. It's actually like I urge you to check it out. It's like I feel like it's gotten better.
I think I was a little just too involved in like actual programs by the time BandLab started like actually being good to use it. I haven't really checked it out since it's become good. But yeah, if that's what you're working with and you're making stuff that sounds good, that's all the more impressive. You know, I made tons of music on GarageBand before I like started actually practicing anything.
I was the same way, yeah. I guess, do you want to talk about like the write-up that you did for the CD also?
Yeah, the write-up. I'm getting more into writing lately. I'm trying to, at least. I'm trying to get back into reading as well. So I'm being influenced by like a lot of what I'm reading. I wanted to just talk about like I've pretty much said a lot of what I wrote up in here in this interview already. Mm-hmm. Like the comparisons to other products of Limitation. In here I also mentioned Flossie and the Unicorns, which is its own strange project. That's like kind of a one-off like puppet show thing Miss Pussycat did for Skin Graft Records. And also Hanson. I'm not like fully versed on the lore of that project, but it is pretty fun to listen to. And then I also compared it to a recent favorite of mine, High Guardian Spice, which I could go on a very long tangent about, but I'll save it for another video.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get the creator of that show to do the artwork for my next album coming up, which I'm proud of.
Yeah, I think you told me about that.
Yeah.
But I also like how you included like quotes like from his initial like interview, like in the write-up, because it kind of recontextualizes like what he was saying. Because it's weird, because I feel like when he was saying it there, it sounded like self-deprecating almost, like in the initial interview.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to give some context to the process. My original vision for this layout was like big red bold text that was a quote and then essay right up underneath. Mm-hmm. So I made that work here. And the quotes from the original interview, these were pretty much the two that I thought were the most important to his process. He might say them in a self-deprecating way, but I think there's a lot more analysis to be had in these quotes that like make the music all the more better, like because of its limitations. Yeah. Like the other projects I mentioned.
That's what I was trying to tell him, because he always like wasn't happy with his music, which I found out because he wanted to do more with it. But I think it was so good because he couldn't do more with it.
Right, yeah. Well, I think his approach to his like creative process again is just like, it doesn't seem like he's making music because like he wants to just have fun with it. He's making music because he needs to get some things out, and that's where all the best music comes from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's. I also compared that process to a Sachiko M quote that I love, where in like the one interview with her on YouTube, she talks about how, you know, she was like touring with these bands for a while, and then she wanted her own sound, and she just found the one thing that sounded unique to her, which was high-pitched sine waves.
Yeah. Well, just want to say again, thank you guys so much for helping me out. You know, get the physicals out. If you would like to, you know, have one of your own, there will be a link in the description where you can go to their Bandcamp and, you know, you can have your own TD that you can listen to at home, in the car, maybe a third location somewhere. Wherever you want.
I'll mention one more thing, is that I've seen a lot of people online complain about this style of like cardboard packaging that's getting kind of trendy with a lot of labels. I quite like this a lot more than the traditional jewel case. I'm getting pretty bored of jewel cases lately, and honestly, I'm starting to pick up less of them in stores. I like the way the art shines on here. I like how they feel just better to hold.
Mm-hmm.
And while the criticism that they have, that like this part, putting the CD in here can scratch them, is valid, the solution to that is to put them in these little like cloth CD sleeves, which I include with every purchase of these, so you don't have to worry about this packaging scratching up your disc anymore. It's pretty good. See you guys next time. Subscribe.
Flip. Like and subscribe.
So true.
Subscribe.
With all your friends.
Watch Arcade Matt's entire video back catalog.
I don't even know what that is, so I'm not going to endorse that because I have no idea what that is.
What is Arcade Matt, dude? He freaking claw machine crazy.
Now I might have to endorse that. I didn't know, but now I know.
Yeah, right, yeah, see?
Alright, I'm just going to stop recording because I don't...